Hi there and welcome. These are your handover videos for your Bailey Unicorn Cabrera. These are a basic walkthrough on how to set up and operate the caravan as if you were coming on or off site. Starting off first, we have your black hitch head at the front with black lever, which you have to have pulled up like so. So then you can then wind down the jockey wheel onto the tow bar, causing this black handle to snap down like so, pushing up that red button and exposing the green ring. You then have your breakaway cable just here, which legality states if you have an eye point, it has to be used. If not, wrap it around the tow bar. You then have a gas strut handbrake. Now, with regards to these, you have to press in on the button to release. However, make sure that you pull it all the way back, because you'll hear a first initial 1 or 2 clicks when you come up, and then depending on the actual strut on it, it's either 3 or 4 for the full engage. You then have your jockey wheel here, which is used to level the caravan, and it is fitted with 13-pin electric, so if you do have 7-pin adaptation, make sure to bring yourself an adapter. However, if you are using that, you may lose a couple of functions such as Alco ATC. 2 points either side and 2 points at the back, we have inserts for your legs. Now, the caravan itself comes with a leg winder, or you can get yourself a 19mm drill bit and a power drill just to make it that bit quicker. Do not attempt to jack up or level the caravan using your legs. They are simply used for stabilisation. Now, as you can see, we're using our test equipment today. So first up, I have this mains lead. Mains lead plugs into this point nice and easy, and that's pretty much it for the door side. Everything else is on the non-door side. So starting off first, we have your water pump. Today we're not running water through, as it is rather cold with the conditions and the caravan has been fully drained off. However, for the water pump itself, all you have to do is push in, press down on the cap to lock it into place. Then you have this plastic cap to go over the top of the acrol to ensure no nastiness gets in. At the bottom, we have your strainer. Now, it is crucial that the strainer sits at the bottom of the barrel to allow the maximum potential of water to come through. With this, some people will put some PVC tubing around the actual water pump itself, so it's always nice and straight. Next to it, we have your flue. With this, you don't have to do anything except make sure it's nice and clean. All this does is allow clean air to come in when operating the boiler on gas. Next to it, we have your gas locker. Gas locker is situated near the axle for better weight distribution. You have 2 points for gas bottles themselves, and then you have your regulator just here. For the regulator, hand tighten that as much as you physically can, and then just nip it up using a spanner. You don't want it ridiculously tight, as that will put pressure on the O-ring that's inside the hose itself. Black gas hoses will run for 5 years, so as you can see, this one is production date 2025, so that will take me up to 2030. I'd also always recommend using propane rather than butane, as it has a better performance through the cold months. Motor mover will be gone over on collection. And then lastly, we have your toilet function. So underneath here, you have 2 points where your wastewater will come out of. You'll need some 28.5mm waste pipe to then feed into a waste master. Then you have your cassette toilet. Lift up on the orange handle and pull out towards you. Now, this handle does also extend out and up, so it can be used similar to a carry-on suitcase. Then what you want to do is twist this head to the side, open up this cap. You want to give it a tilt, and at the same time as tilting, continually press in your vent button. My recommendation as well, after you've done that, is to open up this capacity, add in some fresh water, give it a bit of a shake, and again tilt and vent. Then on this cap here, you have measurements in both imperial and metric, and that is for your blue chemical. Blue chemical goes into here, back onto the cap, twist the head to the side, and then what you want to do is push it in so the orange handle sits behind those white teeth. Above, you have your flush tank. The flush tank itself has a capacity of 12 litres, however I wouldn't recommend putting in any more than 10, as you don't want to overfill it. You can also add a bit of pink chemical, which works as a bleach without being corrosive and makes it smell a bit nicer. Please, however, do not put actual bleach down here, as it will corrode the pipes and the plastic. Now, you don't want to travel with either of these two full, so just to the side, got a little bung to drain off any remaining water from the flush tank. The caravan itself will be fully drained off before you collect it. Then underneath your right hand side seat you have your boiler situated just here. The boiler itself, you can remove that panel if you ever need to do a reset on that. On the back you can see you have your flow jet, which is what will pull through the actual water, and then that point there is the actual point where you're plugging in the water pump. Then just behind it you have this yellow drain valve. When it's facing upright, that is in the drain position. When it's horizontal, that is allowing the flow of water to come through. It can be horizontal either way. November to March, have that up permanently unless you're actively using the caravan, as you don't want the water inside to freeze and burst. Anytime you come off site, just give it a quick drain off as well, as you don't want water sloshing through the pipes. Then underneath the other side, we have the point for the motor mover. This point with the two yellow bits is where you will plug in your red ignition key. The motor mover will be gone over on collection. And then underneath your fridge you have all of your trips and fuses. All your trips in the upright position and all your fuses in the correct position. I'd always recommend carrying some extra fuses across the caravan with you, just in case one blows. Above the door we have your main control panel. So you have the on and off switch just here. You then have internal light, and then you can just use your respective switches, and then you have your awning light just here. So step outside, have a look, and you can see awning lights on just there. Then we have your water pump here. So what you would do is have the actual pump itself plugged in on the outside. You would make sure that your drain valves are in the correct position, and then you would press this down. What would happen is this green light would come on. Now that green light is showing that the actual boiler itself is being filled even. There we go, being filled. Now once it's full, that green light will then turn off. What I would recommend is waiting about 2 to 3 minutes after that, and then just opening up your taps on both hot and cold. Let it run for about 30 seconds. Now it may be a case that if the system is overly pressurized, that you'll get some coughs and splutters. However, just bear through it and let it run so it's nice, steady and continuous. If it does continue to cough and splutter, double check the outside, make sure that the actual water pump is sat at the bottom of the barrel, you have plenty of water, and that your drain valves are in the correct position. Then next to it we have your Alder panel. So this is for your heating. So turn this on, you press this button in here. This green light will continuously be on to show that the panel itself is working. At the top you can see mains are plugged in and the current internal temperature is 9 degrees. Press in on menu and you come to this screen. So first up we have the thermometer in the house. This is for the internal temperature of the caravan that you desire. Goes up to a maximum of 30. You can press and hold, or you can individually tap, and it starts all the way down at 5. Whatever you set it to, it will get to that temperature. On a nice sunny day, it will probably take around about an hour. In worse conditions, expect a bit more time. Next up, we have the water heat. So it's currently off. You can go midway, which will get the water temperature to about 40 or 50 degrees, or you can have it on full. Now what full does, it prioritizes heating the actual water over heating the actual caravan for around 30 minutes. After those 30 minutes, it will then drop it back down to midway, and then the water is nice and hot for you. Then we have your energy sources. So we can either use 1, 2 or 3 kilowatts of electric. Now do be aware that some sites don't have the capacity for 3 kilowatts, so always double check with them. Or we can have gas, or we can have a mixture of both. So you can either use gas mains or both. Then you have this cog here, which is for additional settings. Not going to run through these, as we have set this to what we believe is the most user-friendly interface to use. However, if you'd like to have a look inside your book pack to see what they represent, please do so. Then, when you don't want this panel on, pressing on the button, no more green light, it is now off. Then just here we have your toilet, which is box simple. Lift up the lid and then you press in this button and you can hear that faint whir. That whir is what will push through any water inside the system. Lift up the lid, press away the handle, that opens up the catch, pull it back towards you to shut it up, And then when the cassette is full, there'll be a red light under there telling you to empty. Then just here we have your hob, grill and cooker. All of this operates on gas minus the electric plate. Electric plate, spin it to whatever mark you want and it will get the temperature. Everything else, press in on the dial, twist it to the side and press in on the igniter. Now it may be a case that the flames will come up, light and then cut off. That is natural, that is the gas making its way through its system. So with this, just do it again and make sure that they stay up. This is what it looks like when they're all lit. As you can see, all flames nice and lit. Turn it off back to the central position. Then the same again for the grill. So let's see if I can just do this with one hand. There you can see both sides nice and lit. Now it may be a case that one side will light up and then the other. And then lastly, we have your cooker. So press in on this and you can see that all nice and lit. Now do be aware, you don't want these in the way of the actual flame or the clicker, just so it doesn't disrupt it. Only other thing to note, you can travel with the gas bottles inside the cradle. However, make sure that the bottle themselves are off. As well, you have to travel with this glass sheet down, but don't put it down until all of these are nice and cold. Then here we have your fridge operation. So the fridge itself has a couple of options. When this dial is facing upwards, that means it's off. Twist it to the side, we're on mains. Next up, you have that battery symbol. That is representative of 13-pin electric whilst you're towing, not the leisure battery. You then have this dial here. Thicker the bar, the more power coming into the fridge, the quicker it's going to chill. Even on full capacity, it will take around 4 hours for the fridge to fully chill. The main bit is when you switch over to gas. Now first, check through on your cooker to make sure that's all working. And the gas, what you need to do is press in on this, as well as this igniter. You press in both of them at the same time, and what will happen, that orange bar will float over into the green. Once it's in the green, you can then let go and it will stay lit. This is what it looks like when it's over into the green. And as you can see here, nice and firmly into the green. When I switched over to mains, that will immediately drop out. And you can see if I flicked it back to gas, it would sort of go up and then it will gradually go down. So you do have to make sure that you press in both of these nice and hard. You may hear a bit of initial clicking, that's showing that it is all operating and working. And then as well, with regards to it, make sure that they are both at the same time pressed in. It will not work as well unless you are on gas. As well, when the fridge is on, it's all lit. Fridge is off, it is no longer lit.